Welcome to In Hills with Keni Silva. And today's guest came to this country as a refugee. Then she decided to give up her career to start a beautiful family. When that didn't work out, she didn't stop on that. She decided she's going to be a single mom supporting 4 of her children and starting her business. But what really struck me when I met her and she told me her story and she was asking me for mentorship and guidelines, I realized she already has everything she needs. The strength and resilience was inside of her. All she needed to do is to stop living out of survival mode. Welcome, Lynn.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Lynn. And I truly was so wowed by when we met. And the things, I was actually thinking a lot about everything you said from, the beginning to the end. But I want the viewers first to know, how did you come to this country?
I came here a week before Saigon fell as a refugee, leaving Vietnam as an Amerasian with my mother, who was 17, turning 18. She was a single mother. And we landed.
How old were you?
I was 4 years old.
Wow.
I was 4, yeah. And we went to a refugee camp in Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. That's my first experience of coming to the U.S.
Do you remember anything? Or
I don't remember the good stuff. I remember war. I remember being in Vietnam and having
So even at that little age, you remember that?
I remember being very scared of people and sounds, like the bursting of the bombs. My mother told me I could tell how long it took for the ground to rumble. From the sound that you heard, it takes like seconds for it to hit the ground. So I was a very shy child.
So when you came to America, what did you feel? Do you feel safe? Do you feel that's finally we're somewhere we can, have life?
I was so young. I really didn't know anything about America other than we were all in one group, confined in a home. And, there was 10 of us in a tiny little 2-bedroom apartment for a while. And it was just survival mode. It was just, that's all you knew as family.
Do you speak any English?
I did speak English as my second language. My first was Vietnamese at home and French because my grandparents spoke that. And then my third was English. I went to an American school in Vietnam.
Oh, so you already were exposed to American people.
The language, at least. Not so much the people, but the language for sure. Yeah.
Was it different for you going to, it's not like the difference, but when you started school, did you feel like you were different?
Oh, for sure. I felt like I was an American-looking mixed kid trapped in an Asian household, but in an American society. Because most people put you in a box, right?
Yes.
If you look at America like an American, they treat you like an American. If you speak Vietnamese, then they think, well, you don't really belong there either because you look so Americanized. It's hard to trust the words. So it was learning how to navigate, like which part of society you fit into was very difficult when you're young.
How did you come to Hollywood?
How did I come to Hollywood?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
When did that desire of yours that you want to be outside the box, you want to be somebody else, you want to have, your dreams come true?
I always wanted to be an actress at a very young age. And that was my dream, was to go to acting school. And I went to an academy in New York for acting, singing, and dancing. And I met somebody that gave me an opportunity to go to California. And I took that opportunity.
So you lived in New York too?
I lived in New York for college, and it was American Musical Dramatic Academy for theater.
Did you like New York?
Oh, it's heaven. It was heaven. It was
so you moved just for the career to LA because this is where
everything is. Yeah. I came here always wanting to act in film and television and didn't know how I was going to get here, but that was my dream. And I coincidentally met somebody that offered me an opportunity to come to California to pursue my dream. And I did. I took it.
which is a beautiful thing. I think if somebody gives me an opportunity, I would be like, hey, I'm there. I would be on the first plane to go, because who rejects opportunities? I mean, this is even goes against the whole universal thing. If you ask for those moments, opportunities, you know, signs, and you don't take it, then the universe looks at you and you're like, well, you wanted it, but now you're not taking the step forward, which can be really scary. So how did that turn out, your whole career of acting?
I ended up getting a couple television, and I did a movie with Steve Martin, and I just started my career when I met my then husband, soon to be husband. And then I stopped. I stopped all of it.
Which is a lot of women decide that once they have, or they meet that significant other, they want to fulfill their, dream to be a wife, a mother, which is so understandable, because I did the same thing, and I genuinely wanted it. And I thought that life will give me so much fulfillment, which a lot of times I feel we forget that we were born not just to be mothers and wives. We still have passion. We still have a lot of things that fulfill us. And that's where a lot of women gets lost, just like you did.
Yes, that's a hard sell. You have to give up something for something else, we're told. And I believed it. I believed it because I wanted children and I wanted to be home with them. And I knew I couldn't fulfill both and satisfy both. And in a marriage, you have to decide which is more important, your career or your children. At least for me, I chose to step back out of my career, something that I've always wanted, and gave it up.
How long have you been married?
I was married almost 20 years.
Wow, that's a long time. At what part did you realize something is wrong? This beautiful picture perfect life that I always wanted is not, is not bringing me happiness anymore.
I stopped looking up. That was the turning point for me. I didn't look up anymore. And that was really difficult.
So it just became a routine. Kids going to school, like holidays, it just, like years go by and it's all this.
Years go by and it's the same. And then, I feel like women become the couch and men become the paychecks, and we lose our way and it doesn't connect anymore. And then we're just a picture perfect postcard for Christmas.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like the Christmas card goes out every year, and it's a beautiful beach picture.
And every year it's the same, the same card, the same people. Yeah. But you can see there's something, I always look at those cards and you can see when there is happiness in the family and when it's just for the pictures.
That's very difficult to define for yourself when that change happens. If you lose yourself, that to me resonated. When you just live for your kids, that's your goal, is raising kids. But then you lose who you are as a woman, as a mother. I don't think it's easy for kids to see you not have a career and see things that you love, even though you love being a mother. Like you said, we're more than just mothers. Yeah. We give up something of ourselves to be devoted.
I think a lot of times that when kids see us just being a mom, which is nothing wrong, being a mother is the most rewarding part and, part of my life at least, and I would never change it. But I feel like kids, when it's everyday routine, your kids start looking at you as somebody like a caretaker. As somebody who just takes them to school, cooks them dinner, tells them to do, lunch and, do homework. But they don't look at you as like, wow, she's doing something in her life. Her life matters. And then I remember in my marriage, there was always a comparison. Well, dad works, and what do you do all day? And it's hard for them to understand that what you do is much harder than just going to work 9 to 5 and come back home, because it's a 24 hours nonstop, non-paying job. And
it's true.
And only I think when somebody loses that, they start appreciating things. It happened to my kids. The things they laughed at me before, calling me a bus driver. Then they realize whoa, now after divorce, we're actually going on a bus and we don't like that. Yeah. Mom, can you drive us? So when perspective shifts, they start realizing and being grateful for small things they always took for granted. And I think it's normal for kids, it's normal for people. But what you realize that in this whole process, you're becoming so unhappy and you're becoming taken for granted. And then you ask yourself, why? When did it happen?
Yeah.
And how to fix it?
That's a turning point. That's very soul reflecting to figure that moment out, because it changes everything, right?
Yes. When did you decide that you want to out? That's the marriage is said. Did you try to fix it? Did you try to talk to your husband?
I think we both just kept going along, that it was all just going to work out. And I knew that that wasn't the case. And I remember going to a therapist, and she said to me, picture your life 20 years from now. Is this what you want? I was horrified. I was like, no, I wanted so much more. But what the turning point was, because I have 4 sons, she said, they're going to marry you. They're going to marry someone just like you. Are you okay with that? That was the turning point. When she said that to me, I did not want my sons to look at me like I was a weak person or somebody that wasn't fulfilled or something that they didn't admire. And I wanted that admiration for my kids. And to do that, I knew I had to have a change. So that was my aha moment. Like, I don't want to live like this for 20 more years. I was 45 when I got divorced. I wanted to live a full life and a very authentic life. And I wasn't living it.
So did you come to your husband and you said, I want to get divorced? Or
Yeah.
Because that's, I think, the most, scary part. First, it's scary to admit to yourself, I think this is over. And I don't think I see any future. Then it's scary to tell your partner it's done.
The fear of the unknown was, to me, the scariest, because you don't know where you're going to be. Are you going to be homeless? Do you have a house? Because you're a stay-at-home mom. Everything is dependent on one person's salary. And it was a hard conversation. And we had a very rough divorce. It was very tumultuous. But we survived it, and that's really what it is. It's survival.
Yes.
And you don't know how the cards are going to play out. But I always knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel.
Which I think is the most beautiful perspective when you step into that divorce zone. It's a war zone, but you have to keep walking towards that light. You can't lose hope. You have to just keep walking and be prepared that this is a real war. The things are going to be said that's not because somebody's trying to hurt you, because they also hurt. Yes, and the things they said, sometimes they don't really have a meaning besides just a screaming pain. I want this to stop. I just want peace.
Yeah.
And it's on both sides. I never take a woman's side versus a man's side, because I realize we both humans, and everybody takes it a little bit different, which men sometimes are more reserved, but at the same time, they have a mindset or mentality. They can do things we would never do it, just because we women are naturally more protective of the surroundings, of the children. So it affects everybody, including especially the children. And unless you put hey, we're both adults, which rarely happens. I mean, I know marriages when they get divorced and hey, it's so cool, this is it. But it's not. It takes so much out of you, the divorce. And not just financially, I think emotionally, you lose a part of yourself. You lost already a part of yourself. Now you're kind of trying to rebuild, but you're also losing a partner for so many years that you could rely on. And now you see him at a completely different light and you're like, whoa, how could it be? Was I that wrong?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it is a moment of reflection for sure, of how do you navigate? Because there's no playbook.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that it said death and divorce is like a paper cut times 1,000 in your body. Because you don't know the pain, because you get a little bit, and then all the slices on your skin is what you end up with, And I really thought about that. Like, they're right. It is like a little paper cut that hurts just a little bit. But when you add 1,000 of them, it's like a mountain. Like, you're so scarred from trust issues and, a myriad of different emotions to go through. But if you're on your own, I just remember like feeling so alone. It was a horrible feeling to feel alone because people change, right?
Yeah.
Like, your friends dissipate, maybe your friends are not friends with you anymore, or, couples, they kind of side sometimes.
Especially when you've been 20 years together. I mean, you created this whole new life venture together, and you have friends that look at you as a couple, not as individuals.
Right.
And then there's always questions like, well, who do we pick now? And it's hard for others to be around you too, because you don't know even if you guys speaking, if you're good, if you're not. So it creates a lot of unnecessary, I think, emotions around the whole divorce. And it's very uncomfortable for your friends too, which I totally understand. That's why I told you this before. I created the whole new growth circle because I didn't want that extra pressure. Okay, you don't know how to be around me. Well, don't be around me. I'm okay with that. I just want to be at ease and to have peace.
Peace is big. Yes. And that's hard to attain, is finding that peace.
Yeah.
And you're okay with the peace, because I feel like that's the hardest journey as a woman, to balance, to become something new. And you have to shed that old skin because that's your identity for 20 years. And now your identity is just you,
Well, while you're going through divorce, I think it's more like a survival skill. You're just surviving it. So you're not thinking about shedding anything yet, because to start shedding, you actually have to come to a realization that, okay, the past is the past. Now I can build from now on. You need to give yourself a grieving moment. And I'm very big on that after divorce, after you go to live in separate homes, it takes at least 6 months of a grieving point where you don't expect anything from yourself. You just grieve your old part. You grieve yourself being with a partner. Anything you want, because if you don't, then it will hunt you down. Then after years and years, you will go back to that because it was never settled inside.
Yes, that's a hard path if you don't know how to navigate it. And I don't know if you have a support, but I certainly did not have a support system of like, who do you call? Who do you talk to?
Well, that's why I wrote a book, because I didn't have anything. I was literally Googling all the different methods I tried, all the different things. That's how I came out with the whole book. It was like, well, obviously I'm not alone going through divorce, but you don't trust anybody anymore because you feel like the world is against you. You can't call your attorney at $700 an hour or more. And then I was not big on therapy because, I have my mom I can call and talk.
Right.
So I did a lot of research. I did a lot of from walking to, self-help. And that's where I realized we have all those tools in front of us, which just nobody taught us because it's not something you learn at school. The subject is how to get through divorce. But maybe they should start, because you know what, guys? 30% of people in America get divorced. So maybe that should be a subject now in social study. I don't know, because it definitely will help, especially for women. Financial independence. So what do you need to do? 101 financial independence. I think that course should be actually at schools.
Yeah.
And not just for girls, but for men too. So what did you tell your kids? Because that's the moment that for me, it was devastating for me to tell them, like, not that we're going through divorce, that I will not see them 50% of the time. I think that for me was my biggest fear, that I'm such a protective mom, and I did everything for them. Now they're older. And for me to tell them, I'm not going to be there for you. I'm going to be there for you no matter what, but I'm physically not going to be there.
To me, was the really biggest decision maker to not file for divorce for many years, because I wasn't ready to give up custody, because I knew that's
so you knew you wanted to get divorced. You just were not ready to do it.
No, like I couldn't wrap my head around not seeing my children.
Wow.
So to me, it was better to be in a bad divorce with kids than to not see my kids 50%. That was what I weighed.
How long you were in this moment of waiting?
It had been many years. It wasn't like, I got up one day and decided to get divorced. We weren't compatible. And learned now that I was codependent and making him happy for me to be valued. And I learned it after the divorce. That's
so
what
you
it
were
was.
trying to, by doing things to him, you were trying to prove that you're worth loving.
100%. Yeah. And I didn't know that at the time. I thought if I was a good wife, I was a good cook, cleaner, children had straight A's. I was an academic, advisor to them. I did all the things I was supposed to do as a mother and as a wife, and I still couldn't fix it. I couldn't make a person be what I wanted him to be for the family. And I realized it was never my job. Exactly. And I wanted it. I wanted it so
I
bad.
love what you just said, because this is so true. It's not your job to raise a grown-up man to step up to the person that you imagine. And I think a lot of times we as women, we fantasize and we see the potential in a person.
That's
and
the
we
key word, potential.
Potential. And we fall in love with that potential.
It's
we
true.
can see what we can build with us, because women, we're raising children. So we raise things. So it's like, I'll train him. And then you realize there's untrainable ones that you're going to waste years and years of your life. Yeah. And you literally gonna, instead of evolving and changing yourself and growing yourself, you trying to grow another man, which is always a waste of time. Girls, if you're in a relationship or a marriage where you think you're going to change this person, there's nothing will change him unless he wants to change. And
that's true.
Usually those moments come also when there's something happens in life and these men go like, whoa, I'm wasting my life. But it rarely happens like that. And because men can actually, I believe, live in a happier relationship because they know how to cope with it much better.
Yeah, that's true. Women, I feel guilty if I can't do it well.
Yes.
And sometimes, at least in my own mind, I would say, I wish I could tolerate more. If I could just tolerate more, I could get through it.
I think they teach us as a woman that we have to tolerate pain because, like the periods we have every month, the childbirth, it's like they're always like, hey, you can tolerate. That was built in your system because, you carry babies for 9 months. You don't even belong to yourself. And that's why I think the whole mentality of, since I carry another person and I'm like a hotel for them, you become a hotel to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody can just walk in, check in when it's convenient, check out. It's like in and out. And that's why I think women are so patient. They are always thinking like, well, maybe it's just a period of time. Maybe it will all work out.
That's the hope we have, right?
The hope.
And it's all in the benefit of the children, really.
Yes.
That's the hope we have, right?
The hope.
And it's all in the benefit of the children, really.
Yes.
I think for me, I looked around, I didn't want it to affect my children.
Yeah.
Like, what is it going to take for me not to be disruptive? Because you hold those cards, right? I mean, you're the one that pulls the cards and the house of cards fall down. And that gave me tremendous guilt because I thought, well, what do I say to my children one day? You have to answer to them one day to explain. And I didn't ever want to give them a wrong answer. Like, yes, mom ruined it for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, so sign me up. I wanted to take the whole family apart. And I knew that that's what it's at stake because you as a mother have to explain, right? How do you explain to your children?
I agree about explaining, but I also think we as parents should not put that responsibility on the children, meaning you can tell them, hey, this is how life will go, instead of telling them, what do you think? Because putting that responsibility on the children about should we stay, should we not, I felt it as a child myself. I knew my parents were staying in a marriage because of me. And that pressure alone, I think that's what motivated me to leave the house because I wanted them to be happy. And I felt like I was the reason they were staying because of me. So with my children, no matter how hard it was, I wasn't put in the pressure of choice. If we should stay or not. This was the decision. And I explained it to them. You still have a loving mom. You still have a loving dad. You have a family unit. Yes, you're going to move, but you still have all those things.
Components.
But
yes.
I didn't want to give them, I gave them stability in terms of I will always be there, even if I'm not physically, I'm there. But I didn't want to give them that pressure that I got divorced because of you, or I didn't get divorced because of you. It was not related to you at all. It was my decision based on completely different things.
That takes a big adult to do that. It really has to be an evolved intellectual person like yourself to be able to broaden that thinking. Not everybody has those tools at the time you're in divorce, right?
I mean, when you're in divorce, it's actually, you don't think about those things, but because I thought about so many kids and because I did all that self, like regulations, self-motivations, all these things. And I consulted with like, what do you say to the kids? What do you think? Like, especially with my attorney, like what people tell your kids. So to me, because I knew I was hurting them already enough, and I didn't want to give them that extra, well, maybe it happened because of me, because that's what a lot of kids unfortunately think during divorce, it happened because of them. Mm. So what did you tell your kids? How old were they by the way, when you guys get divorced?
I had 4 boys, 3, 9, 12, and 15.
Wow.
So I had one in every school. I had high school, middle school, elementary, and preschool.
Okay, so I want to ask you, you're the 3-year-old. Since you're already living in that state of mind, I want to get divorced, why did you have another kid?
It's funny. People ask me like, oh, did you try to save your marriage? No, I just love children and I was raising them by myself. And there's a huge gap from 9 to 3. I wanted children so badly and I was raising them on my own because my husband at the time worked so much. He was so wanted. My tubes were tied with my 3rd. I flew overnight to get them untied 9 years later to hope to have a child.
Wow.
And no one was going to tell me different. I wanted children so badly. So people think you had another one to save your marriage. I said, no, I had another one because I love children.
And that was your first sign of self-love. You wanted something and you wanted so bad that you decided not to think about anything else.
That's the only thing I wanted in my life was children and a family. That's all that mattered to me. The other stuff, I didn't care about the things. I mean, 4 homes we had 3 to 4 homes at one point. I just wanted a family so bad. Like I didn't care what the cost was. And of course, you get divorced and you're like, oh my gosh. And then people look at you like, why did you have number 4? Like you tried to put it all together. And I go, no, I just love children. It wasn't because they were the cause. They were the want behind it. It was the dream, the love that I wanted. And I look at them and they're the biggest blessings in the world. Yeah. And it was very tough. I mean, getting divorced with a 3-year-old.
Yes.
And my divorce, we had 4 kids. We split the kids up. He took 2, I took 2. And that was the most difficult thing I've ever faced. It was like your right arm being cut off. I wanted everybody together. I didn't care which house, just keep them all together. And unfortunately, we couldn't do that.
And that's hard for a mother to know that not only you separated, from a partner, but also the whole family is divided now. It's like left and right sides. And, I don't know how you did it because I know that was a very rough time for you and a lot of crying, a lot of thinking, what does it go through my child's, mind right now? Do they think that I left them and abandoned them? Because all those thoughts as a mom cross your mind and all you want is just, for them to get as much love and protection and you can't protect your child in that moment and it feels devastating.
Oh, of course, it's the first years of their life from the day they're born, they're yours. Until you get divorced, then they're not yours. That is a very hard pill to swallow for me. Like, that's all I knew. That's all I wanted. Yeah. But,
how long you've been after divorce now?
9 years.
Okay. So how is it going now?
It's
with your children.
My children are fantastic. They very close to me.
All 4
are very close. They're mama boys. And we've learned, everyone's got scars from a divorce. Yes. You don't come out clean.
No.
From you as a mother,
the
whole family is.
And it builds, I think, a resilience, even in your children. It's a life experience that they go through that I believe makes them stronger in the long run, because life is not all pink and protective. There's going to be times when you're going to face challenges. And I feel that kids who faced it early on, they build that survival skill and that overcoming things. Resilience from other people who always had it good.
And I think you're perfectly said. What you think other people have it good is just a perception.
Yes.
It might not be good for them, but that's resilience is big. My children are very adaptable. All three of my boys are valedictorians, top of their class in high school. Amazing. Scholarshiped, all three. I'm very proud of who they became, young men, to face adversity, but it's not an easy road, and they're not the most open to talk about it. I don't blame them. But
I think it's also boys. Boys are not as open as, and I have one of each, so I can tell my daughter's always chatting. My son, he shuts down. And I think it's hard for boys to process those emotions.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I think even when they feel something, they don't want to feel it. So they just,
internalize
it. They distract themselves. They don't want to surface it. And I mean, as much as I try to talk to my now 14-year-old about different things, I can see how he's very closed off, and we work on that because I don't think it's good for them to hold all that inside.
I think that's how boys are built, and that's how society trains them to be built, which is very difficult. As I only have boys, I don't know what a girl's like. But even this is 9 years in the making, we still talk about how do you feel? And they said we don't talk about that because we have to shove it, put it down, because that's what boys are trained to do. We don't express. So I'm learning, like you, how to communicate better, because I want my sons are men that are having relationships with women, and they have to be expressive. They have to communicate. Yeah. I don't want them to think they have to be a stereotypical type to just shove it down and nobody talks about it and they don't have emotions. It's a terrible way to live, I want them to be healthy relationships.
So now on your own, and you're starting this amazing company. Wait, by the way, how did you come up with this? And what part of after divorce you realized, obviously you were supporting the family, but when did you realize you want to do something for yourself? You want to start your own business?
I actually wanted to during the marriage, and I just didn't find the time and the support. So after the marriage and the divorce, I realized I need something for my creativity and something that I want to love and be passionate about, because I gave up acting. I wasn't going to go back to that. So I thought, okay, let me get back to the drawing board. And this idea was originally from my mother in Vietnam. She didn't have very good shoes, and they were either too big because it was poor, the country, and she would tie a band around her shoe to keep her shoe on. So I took the twist and I changed the protocol, and we did a patent, and we changed the design of it. So it not only holds your shoe on your foot, but it's an accessory for your heel.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It's super simple and it's adjustable. So I just thought, if I'm ever going to do it, this is the time to do it. I want something of my own to feel proud of. And I'm passionate about it because I'm helping women. It's not just a product. It solves a problem. And it can help women feel beautiful in their shoes and give us style. So I just want an opportunity to have the American dream and to help women all over the world.
Which I think you actually have American dream. You came to this country, you had and still have a beautiful family with your boys, and you have your own business.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. It's a journey, and it's something that's mine. I'm so passionate about it. And people said to me, is there a deadline? I said, no, this is going to launch. It's just a matter of time. It's my passion to work for myself and feel independent of anybody else my whole life. And that's my biggest goal, is to prove to myself I could do this, I can launch this and help women.
Well, you already did. You proved it to yourself because you launched it.
I am.
So I think you don't give yourself credit. And that's what I realized when we met and we talked for 2 hours. You don't give yourself credit. You don't understand that you have it all in you. You just oversee those things somehow. It's the perception that you always feel like you still need to deserve that love, that you're not good enough, that you have to prove to yourself to build this. When I'm like, wait a minute, you build it, you have it. You have to start celebrating yourself. And this is where, and I do the same thing. Trust me, I'm always on the go next. So now what I do, I pause and I celebrate small victories, not just big, small, because then it registers the steps, to my bigger goal. And you feel so proud. Wow, I did this. Little things. Because in the chase of bigger ones, we lose that perception of the journey. And that's the most beautiful thing. It's being present and enjoying every step of the way.
I learned that from you, from our conversation a while back. And I thank you for the 2 hours. I begged you for 10 minutes for coffee and I got the privilege of 2 hours. Thank you so much. You gave me a lot of insight on what to think about, because I do keep things very close to my chest still that I shared. And you're right. I have to be present more and focus on myself rather than focusing on other people to be validated.
So what did you do? What changed? And it's been probably like a month ago. So I want to see the progress. Okay. What did you do? What did you start doing? So for people who don't know, I, suggested Lynn that she needs to start looking for things that she would enjoy. No matter if she's dating or not, enjoy doing by herself. That brings her that like a childhood. Oh my God, I have my music class. I have my, art thing, something that gives another purpose, not just work, not just kids, something for herself, for her soul. Did you start doing something?
I did. I created a website.
Okay, I love that.
And it's a personal website, and it's not to do with this, but it's all my thoughts and my poetry that I haven't ever written since I was 19 years old.
Wow.
And I put all my thoughts and emotions into something that's creative, because I met somebody that inspired me to find my love of writing again. And I just thought, I'm going to focus on that because I missed that. And I did. I wrote 70 poems. I wrote 30 articles.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Wait, all in 1 month? It was from before.
I started having ideas, but I didn't put it together to the last 30 days to actually.
I'm so proud of you. Yeah. You're such a fast learner.
Oh, well.
I'm amazed. Most people would say I started that class or whatever. You created the whole website and a whole business plan for, your poems and things. Wow.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a book?
I'm almost finished with the book. And so there's things I really wanted to do that I've never done. And you said, do those things. So I started a novel, and my goal is to finish it in 60 days, and I'm halfway done. I just want to do things I'm passionate about that I never had time for.
And you know why? We never have time for things that we have to drag doing. But when you have that passion, you work 24 hours because that's what fills your soul. That's when I'm at home and I work on my show, the time just flies.
You enjoy it.
And it doesn't feel like work. It feels like a project that's, you do it and there's so much love and enjoyment. It's like raising another baby.
It is a baby. It is my son actually said to me, I can't believe you wrote all these. And I said, I've always wanted to, but I just never believed in myself that I was good enough to do it. And I said, I met with you a month ago and you said, focus on yourself. Do things that you love. And I never had anybody say that to me because you're so busy focused on other people and what other people want you to be.
Yes.
And I thought, I'm going to sit down and really think about what I love. And I started feverishly writing till 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Wow.
And I'm really proud of it.
Oh my God, I'm having goosebumps because this is a moment that that's why I started this show. Not just to show you all these stories, but when women come to me, I always find time just because I know that one person who believes in them and gives them that courage to change their life. That's what it takes.
Thank you so much for
You're so welcome. But to me, it's I feel like my child just, found a passion and turned in that corner. It's you were at the intersection to go left or right. And then there's something in you that spark. And trust me, It was always there. You just had to be reminded. And being selfish is not a bad thing. That's what self-love is. When you start loving yourself, you actually can give more love to others because you're coming from a happy place, from a place of love versus from a place of pain. What love can you give to others when you constantly feel pain, betrayed, sad?
Yeah, that's a hard to get out of the guilt zone about being selfish. I think you nailed it. If you have to love yourself so you can give more love.
And now your kids look at you. Your kids see you in a different light.
They do. They've commented how happy I am. They said, you're so happy doing your passion and your poetry and your website. Like, where did this come from? I said, well, sometimes it takes a little bit of a whisper in your ear to be, motivated. And believing in yourself is very hard. I don't know as a woman, I don't know if I always had that confidence. I definitely didn't when I was married, and it definitely didn't when I went through a divorce. And I needed to find it because I lost it. I lost who I was.
Yes. Well, being an actress, you have to have a lot of confidence because even going to auditions, you get so much rejections. And in order to continue, you have to have that confidence not to give up. So you had it. You just lost yourself. You lost that sense. And it's normal. I think when a woman actually goes through, especially birthing children, there's something chemical that happens with her. And you did it 4 times, which is totally normal. It takes time even for recovery. That's why, what is it called? They have maternity leave. Not just for the baby, but to recover yourself, your mind, your hormones. Everything has to go back in place. Running, like men's life never stops. Ours does.
Yeah.
And it's hard, but I'm so happy that you did. Wait, did you start dating?
I did meet somebody.
Oh my God! What did I tell you? Once you stop doing this, you're going to find yourself.
Yeah, I did. And
it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be serious. What the point was, I told her, even she said, I'm happy to be alone. But then the question she asked me, I realized that she wants this, but she contradicts herself to the point the universe doesn't even know what to do. Did you want it or you don't? And then I told her, start with searching within you.
Yeah.
When you don't think about it, this is when you're going to attract.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that because this person made a comment to me yesterday. He said, you're fearless. There's something in you that is fearless to throw it all on the table. And I don't think I could have done that before talking to you. So thank you.
Oh my
that was
God.
Such the biggest compliment to me. Thank you.
No, but to me, to hear what you're saying right now, it makes me so happy. It makes me happy that I always said, if I can only change one person's life in a better, that's it. I'm going to die happy. I'm going to go to heaven already. And it's truly because we all impact others in so many ways. We don't even realize. Sometimes it's just talking to a stranger in a coffee shop and selling something nice can change that person's day.
That's true.
And that's how much, if I have that influence to help others, and I'm pretty sure you do too, why not? Why not make this world so much more beautiful?
Yeah, I think that's very important because it's a ripple effect. You affect me, I affect somebody else, and it keeps going.
And
right?
it keeps going.
And it keeps going. It's the overflow of love. I don't think I could have gotten here in that teary-eyed moment meeting with you a month ago. You saw me in tears. It is hard to be open. It's hard to start over.
I think it's hard to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Because there's so much contradictions in your head from what you truly want, but you're not allowing yourself to have it because of all those old beliefs of guilt, of I'm not worth enough. I shouldn't be thinking about that. And that's how we kill that. And that's how the universe is like, wait, okay, you figure out what you want. When you want, just write it down. One sentence. And that's a lot of times. It takes time to figure out, what do you want? That was number one thing. I didn't know what I wanted after divorce.
How long did it take you?
Well, I'm always on a accelerated program. Like, hey, I knew I wanted to write a book because I started writing it during my divorce.
Right.
I wasn't ready to go there because at first I told myself I have to situate my family. It took me 6 months just to make sure the kids, the schedules, like all these things. Because to me, I needed the foundation before I'm going to go up. Because without that, you can have progress, but it's going to be very flat. And I like to go with the speed of the lightning once I know I want something. But for that, you have to have that foundation. And I have believe in me. I always say, like, if I want something, this is it. I'm going to get it. It's like, but I have to want it.
Yeah.
That's why it's important. Whatever I do, need to truly believe in it. And I have to have a passion for it. Otherwise, like, don't even come to me. You can ask me, like, do you want to do this? No, I would never find time.
Wow. Wow. And you did say write it down. That's important, to write down what you want. And then knowing that first helps you navigate. Thank you so much. You're such an inspiring woman. And I don't know if you remember, but I reached out to you on Instagram.
Yes, I remember. I remember it very clearly.
Yeah, I just saw the empowerment and like that energy of helping women. I think it's so powerful because we don't have enough support of women supporting women. Instead of being a competition, it is, how can I help you? How can I serve you? And you're the ripple effect. You're the rock that gets thrown in the ocean that like ripples everybody else, because what you've done to me, I could say to somebody else, and that person has said to me, you're contagious. But it starts from you. Do you know what I mean?
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lynn. And in this amazing note, and I'm so happy to hear that you're doing so well. We're going to say goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for being with me, Keni Silva on In Heels.